All right, so let's dive into some humans, huh? We had tried this a couple weeks ago. I'm interested to see how it looks a second time through. Last time we played, Imperial Recruiter was really sweet, so I'm up to the full 4 copies. If you're familiar with my content, you know that I'm a real sucker for a good toolbox deck. So Recruiter allows this aggressively slanted deck to add a toolbox aspect to it. So what are we toolboxing for? We've got Deputy of Detention, Sanctum, Prelate, Meddling or Phantasmal Image, Sanctifier, and Vec. And then we have multiple copies of some of the better cards, things like Meddling Mage and Reflector Mage are disruptive elements that we might want more than one copy of on occasion. So this deck still has the aggressive core you would expect from Classic Humans in Modern. We got Champion of the Parish, Thalia's Lieutenant, Mantis Rider in order to beat people down. We've got Aether Battle to kind of tie the room together and let us play a really aggressively low land count at 19 while also playing, 4, 5, 6, 6 lands at sacrifice to draw cards. So let's dive on into some games with this one and see how it feels today. Speaking of toolbox decks, is anybody in chat, or if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, poked at Heliod Company in a post what's it called world, a post MH2 world? Someone had asked me the other day about Heliod combo versus the Yawgmoth deck, and I was like, we actually haven't played Heliod combo. And I think we need to make a point to get to that one on stream. We've done the other creature toolbox decks of the format. Thanks, Denny. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. We got Noble Hierarch on 1 into Mantis Rider on 2. With part of me wants to play this, that way when they bolt me on 1 here, I get to draw a card. Yeah, Heliod combo is a walking ballista deck. We're probably supposed to do this, but I'm gonna feel bad when they have a 1-mana pizza removal. I'm just auto passing here. Nope, just till the end of turn. Luna Hero, thanks for the 21 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Triome. Could be Kiki Cord. Ooh, are they playing Kiki Cord? No, probably a Bring to Lightscape Shift deck. If I had to venture a guess. Is this the land that kills my noble? Yep, it's whatever it's called, the prismatic ending. Could be 5-color Niv. I would bet Scape Shift. My money's on Scape Shift. The Explore is indicative of not Niv. Honestly, the prismatic ending too, right? I'm super looking forward to this 3-color cycle being historic legal. Mantis Rider, Savage Knuckleblades, my boy. Siege Rhino. We'll just pretend Sidisi doesn't exist. I guess Sidisi technically wasn't in that cycle. She was a legendary. There's another one that's even worse than Sidisi. Fuzzy Thantos, thank you for the 28 months. Welcome back. So you have to pay 1 here. I wonder who they're going to bounce. Sure. We've got Esper Sentinel here that could finish off Teferi, no problem. We'll drop this down on human. I think we just get Mantis Rider going here. We'll have Esper Sentinel kill Teferi. And they missed a land drop here, right? So it feels like a good time to pressure. Yep. I don't know that our deck ever beats this card. Like, they play a fetch land here. It's a gain 7. Just a shock land. Only a gain 4. So I guess we'll do this and attack for 6, but every land drop gaining 4 is a pretty tough nut to crack. Howdy how. Thanks for the year and a half. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Do they have a sweeper here? Yep. We're probably dead at this point. Pack it up. Pack it in. Let me begin. You know, honestly, I mean, I guess I have Magus of the Moon to cut them off of casting spells, but a lot of our stuff doesn't seem particularly exciting here. Seems like a matchup where if our opponent gets to play magic, we're probably gonna have a bad time. Sanctum Prelate probably comes in. I can put this on 4, which locks them out of scape shifts and sweepers. Probably want the Skyclave Apparition to tag Omnath. They're not a Niv deck. They might be a Bring to Light deck, but they're not a Niv deck. Explorers and prismatic endings and whatnot. I mean, they are not a Niv deck. Reflector Mage is probably good enough because of Omnath. I think you always keep the Phantasmal Image in so you can pick it up with Recruiter. I'm sure Meddling Mage just have so many different cards we might want to name. Meddling Mage is a card that got a bit worse in this archetype because we've moved away from Kitesail Freebooter. I think it's correct given the tools that we've gained, but definitely not being able to see the opponent's hand is a little bit of a power level decrease for our meddling friend here. Morning, Sluey. We need more Gitaxian Probe, something like that. This hand has Magus of the Moon, but the rest of it's really mediocre. We don't do anything on 1. There's no Aether Vial to pair with Magus. Yeah, this is good. The problem with playing something like Elite Spellbinder is look at the curve of my deck. And then consider, like, okay, what is that fitting in over? What are you playing that instead of? I think you'd have to give up the Imperial Recruiter package in order to play that. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop double Champion of the Parish here. Oh, fuck me. Seriously? God damn it, Jeff. I'm just gonna go to the next match. That's fine. We had a couple of 5-0s in a row. We can, it's not even that mana is difficult. It's just that Moto not having an auto-tapper fucking sucks. Takes you 12 clicks to cast every spell. That was it. I click on the creature. I click on the land, I make the mana, I click on the mana symbol. It's like 4 or 5 clicks per spell for a 1 mana spell. I don't know. Most of the time, the auto tapper gets you. It's because you're not paying attention to what it's doing. It tells you what it's going to do before it does it 99 times out of 100. It shows white with that. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to cast Thalia's Lieutenant. And then in response to this trigger, we'll put Noble Hierarch into play. Could be an Enchantress deck, could be a Blood Moon deck, splash in a third color. We are in the O1 bracket, so it is in fact Enchantress. Okay, so since they just played this and did nothing else, I just double Deputy of Detention them, right? Good chat. Good chat. What interesting and close games of Magic we've played so far this morning. Really, really good back and forth. Flector Mage probably isn't great here. Sanctifier doesn't do a whole lot. Extra Prelate seems fine. They've got a lot of non-creature spells I wouldn't mind naming to cut them off at. Extra Deputy, Skyclave, and Knight, all excellent here, picking apart their board. I think Meddling Mage is going to be my trim around the edge. So 16 months, 10 under. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, might be a quickish league. Aggro decks usually generate kind of quick leagues. The fact that I punted out the first one quickly. Nice. I think I actually want to lead Esper Sentinel on one here. And I might want to name something other than human on one of these because of the spirit. So the Storko says, whenever they play their first non-creature spell each turn, I get to draw a card unless they do that. One drop. Nice. Nailed it. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to play this turn because they're not super likely to pressure my life total, and I can't play Skyclave Apparition next turn if I want to. This is only for the first time they do it each turn, so we don't draw endless cards here. We just get a second one. Still pretty good. Morning, Spaceman. Hmm. I think we just go ahead and jam Mantis Rider here. And then next turn we can play Thalia's Lieutenant and attack for a bunch. I played the Horizon Canopy this turn instead of the Unclaimed Territory, just in case I want to play this next turn. Do I just want to play this? I guess I could Meddling Mage here. Yes, on thin ice is chained to the rocks, but for snowlands is exactly correct. Yeah, we just like Meddling Mage solitary confinement. I think so, right? We've got spirit. Yes, we do. We've got spirit. How about you? It's a shame we aren't quite lethal this turn. They play solitary confinement over seer safety? Yeah. It's a more complete lock. Sometimes they play a ghostly prison or a sphere of safety as well, but they usually these lists are playing 2 confinement. Okay. 16 minutes, 2 matches in because of my punt. All right. It is extras. Life is sweet. It's all going pretty good. I got Christy to play some Pokemon Unite last night, so we spent like hour and a half playing games together. It's fun. We're gonna finish Uncharted 2 at the end of the stream today, but I'm not sure exactly how much of that I have left. If we have time, I might do some Unite at the very end today as well. And if not, I'm definitely gonna put it on the schedule next week for a day or two. Ectoban, thank you for the 3/4 of a year. Welcome back. Good morning. What's the TLDR in Unite? It's a Pokemon MOBA. So MOBA is the same type of game that League of Legends is. But it's simplified a number of axes in the gameplay that makes it more digestible. And the games are never more than 10 minutes. And they actually even have faster modes where the games are like 8 minutes. I've enjoyed it a lot. As someone who never got into League or anything or Dota because there just had too much going on, it's been good. It's just on Switch right now. It's going to be on mobile, I think, in September. Can I keep this? I feel like I can't, right? Like, Dahlia's Lieutenant is my first play. It's just so mediocre. I don't think we can keep this on 7. We really want, a noble. One of our 1-drops on 1. Yeah, this is nice. Do I bottom second noble or do I bottom second vial? I think I'm gonna bottom second noble. 2 vials sounds great. I think it's accessible to younger kids. Yeah, both my 6 and 7-year-old both understood the mechanics of what was going on. They weren't neither of them are particularly great at executing the gameplay currently, but they both understand what they're supposed to be doing while playing the game. Yeah, I've seen people complaining about the monetization of Pokemon Unite, but as someone who comes from an abusive relationship with a company called Wizards of the Coast when it comes to monetization, the Pokemon Unite monetization seems more than fair and reasonable. But I'm certainly biased in that opinion because of the things that I'm used to. I'm gonna lead on Esper Sentinel here, so this way they have a counter spell, we get to draw a card. Hey, thanks for keeping me around, Danny. I appreciate the 15 months. Thanks for dropping that prime off again. So, I was watching a few different people who are like MOBA players from other games stream Pokemon Unite, and a lot of them didn't even seem to understand or grasp the item system or how different things worked in the game. So, and they were playing ranked already, so it's kind of the Wild West. There's people that are mechanically better at games that are going to be a little bit better than you, but a lot of people don't really seem to know what they're doing. The Pokemon MOBA is pay to win the same way Magic is pay to win. Is the TLDR. It's whiny little children who want to get everything for free and never have to spend money on anything ever. For less than the cost of a AAA video game, you can have everything you need to be competitive in the game. I spent like I threw $20 at it and I maxed all of the items. I maxed all of the items that people were complaining about were pay to win in the game with less than $5 worth of currency. This probably won't come as a shock to anybody. This won't come as a shock to anybody who's watched my content before, but the monetization system of games isn't really a factor that puts me off of them. Oh, is this a Niv deck? It's almost assuredly another Omnath deck, right? Ren in 6. Yep. So we're gonna murder my Noble Hierarch, but the Noble Hierarch doesn't really matter at this point. Willing to try Neo Brand again? I don't know. It depends on what the deck lists look like. Has it posted a result anywhere? So we get to go ahead and put these to 2 and 3, and they're probably going to stay there. I think I'm supposed to play around a sweeper next turn. So I'm going to attack Ren and attack them. And I think I just chill on the vials on 2 and 3 here. I haven't any response to a path, right? You have to keep your Ren in 6 for a turn, friendo. And I haven't played a land yet for the turn. I think I'm actually going to sacrifice the Sunbake Canyon. We might have lethal on the untap, right? Depending on what they do here. It's going to be Omnath gain 4. Probably don't have lethal through Omnath gain 4. We can try, though. Omnath gain 7. The last time we played this deck, we did not play against any other Omnath decks, or any Omnath decks, and this deck does not seem playable against the card Omnath, Locus of Creation. Your fetch lands gaining their fetch lands gaining them 4 to 7 is just it's just such a beating. And they're casting a 5-mana spell this turn as opposed to gaining 7. Yep. I've not seen a lot of humans in results in the tournaments that have been going around, and a lot of stuff like this existing could definitely be the reason why that's the case. Milla, thank you for the 66 months. Been around the block a time or two. Thanks for keeping me around. Good morning, good morning. We do have some humans. Okay, so I'm going to say always no to this one. Say yes to this one, I think. So I can recruiter meddling or recruiter reflector mage and bounce this. That doesn't actually really get me anywhere though, right? We're just dead, right? I should just concede. Like, can we ever beat this card? I mean, I guess I can get a second Mantis Rider and like attack with Mantis Rider, I suppose. Is that the line? It's not a line I'm particularly excited about. Oh, I don't have Skyclave in my deck right now. I only have deputies and reflector mages. I could reflector mage the Omnath and hope that's good enough. We could like reflector mage the Omnath, play meddling mage on Wrath of God or Supreme Verdict is what they play, and then ship. That's probably the line, right? It's probably just like hope this is good enough. Like our lines are take the Omnath out of play or concede, so. Thalia's Lieutenant wouldn't have made Imperial Recruiter big enough to attack into the Omnath, and the Omnath stands to gain 7 life if they want off a fetch land, and we know they have a fetch land with Ren and 6. My body is ready to get Day of Judgmented or Wrath of Godhead now that I've named Supreme Verdict on the Meddling Mage. Or they'll just like Lightning Helix Supreme Verdict us, but, you know, is what it is. New microphone. I did futz with some of my audio settings last night. I think I like where I ended up at. Well, let me rephrase. I think where I ended up at with it is better than what I had before, but I think I'm gonna go buy. We got a professional camera. I've been meaning to buy a professional microphone. God, part of me wonders if I'm supposed to bring in these dismembers because Omnath is just such a beating. I don't know. The style of matchup mostly just seems impossible, and I think rather than being too reactive, I want to just try and punk them out. I think we just like hope they stumble. Do a model like currently? No, I haven't. I haven't done anything in the audio space in over a decade. I assume SM58 still exists, but I'm gonna have to do some googling in terms of what technology exists and at what price points. Past the cheap USB microphones I've been using. Prismatic ending kills your Aether Vow. I'm suddenly understanding a lot why people don't play this deck anymore. And this is why it's good. This is why it's good to play decks more than once. Last time we played this at a really good run through, but getting systematically dismantled by Omnath twice makes me think one, Kiki Court is great. Play more Kiki Court. Kiki Court just is auto free wins against these Omnath piles of greed because they just don't have anywhere near the value you do. So I have professional lighting from Christie's photography stuff. I explicitly don't use front lighting because it burns out my eyes. So I have access to that, and I've done that in the past, but being under lights 40 plus hours a week is not a good way to treat your eyes. What's a cloud lifter? And I understand XLR to USB. What does a cloud lifter do? Boost the gain. That makes sense. And timely reinforcements. Man, we really can't catch a break, huh? Am I running Champion of the Parish into these tokens? Probably not. So it'll be a 4/4 next turn. No, I think your Jeskai deck has rotated out of the format, Niv. I think you're supposed to be building something like what these decks are doing. Jeskai Control is just outclassed by these 4-color Omnath atrocities. It's not even just Modern Horizons 2 there, honestly. These decks play Ren in 6, they play Omnath. Prismatic Ending was a power level increase that they picked up, but, those decks have been on the way out for a while. Yeah, Modern effectively rotated with the last couple of sets. It's rotated a couple of times the last few years. See? Bolt, snap, bolt. Even Nassif wasn't running Snapcaster Mage with a trophy with Jeskai. Yikes. Yeah, they're just different. They're different decks than they used to be. Ain't what she used to be. And at this point, because of their timely reinforcements, I just don't have the ability to push through, right? I mean, I think I'm supposed to get Thalia's Lieutenant and just beat down the door here. Playing a what's it called next turn is forever from now. So this makes this big enough that they have to start chump blocking. They can't trade all of these for this. It's a 6/6. Yeah, that's a good description of what this 4-color Omnath deck is. Extras. People looked at the 5-color Niv deck and they cut all the cute bullshit and just put more good cards in it. And this deck is the culmination of that. Because believe it or not, the 5-mana 6/6 dragon wasn't actually good in a format like Modern. This card, right? We've talked about Brainstorm and Expressive Iteration in Historic. This card sees play in every format it's legal in as a 4 of. It's one of if not the best draw 2 ever printed. It's a draw 2 with card selection for 2 mana. It's incredible. Yeah, we're super dead here. This league's going to be quick. We're going to play all the matches. I'd like to try and get my fun points back, but yeah, the Omnath matchup does not seem winnable, and I don't think I would play this archetype again. So we're going to play out another 20 or 30 minutes or whatever for the sake of getting some Moto bucks back, but this archetype is not competitive into these value Omnath decks. Is Bink Bonk on the list to try again? Yeah, maybe at some point. I usually don't try and hammer tier 1 decks a ton on stream. And that deck's definitely like the tier 1-iest of tier 1 decks in the format now. I think it's probably the best deck in Modern at the moment. Mark Huron, thanks for the 7 months. Welcome back. Yeah, the power level of the format picked up, and this one just does not feel like it's kept up. The Bink Bonk deck is the Hammer Time deck, the Colossus Hammer Urza Saga deck. It's definitely the best Urza Saga deck in the format. It might be the best deck. Just super, super good proactive game plan. Also has some grind thanks to the Saga. And Gucci said human should always play 4 image. Alright, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Playing 4 images wouldn't have mattered in the game where I just got slaughtered, so. Manguchi is to humans as Jeff Hoagland is to Kiki Cord. So, like, he can show up and play humans all he wants into bad matchups and play better than people and beat them, but I'm going to tell you, if you're a normal human being, I would not recommend playing this deck. If you already own it, like, more power to you. Enjoy having fun and hope to dodge the Omnath matchups, but when people ask me, Jeff, is this a deck you'd recommend buying into Modern with? I'm going to give you a resounding no. As is often the case, the answer to the question is, can I continue playing my bad deck from 2 years ago? Is yeah, follow your heart. Play Magic for fun. But I'm also not going to lie to people who want to be like, Jeff, is this a deck I should buy into Modern with? The answer is definitely no. We're fucking dead, chat. We're dead. We're dead. Oh, God, this league's gonna be so fast. Bulletproof Pope with the 48 months. I've got a castle ready just for you here at Hoaglandia. Thanks for the support. It's a really long time. Modern Humans has entered the Jund tier. Oh, it's funny because it's true. It's funny. It's funny because it's true. It's entered the Jund tier. Oh, baby. That's such a great way to put it. That's such a great way to put it. This deck is Jund tier. It does bulletproof. Jack! Thank you for the tier 2. Level of support is very generous. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Alright, we're going to put in some Sanctifiers. We're going to put in a Knight of Autumn. Thanks for the sub, Gift Niv. Listen, chat. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Jund hasn't been competitive in Modern since they banned Splinter Twin. That hasn't stopped many people from playing it. But that's the God's honest truth on where your Jund deck stands. Oh, we drew a land and it doesn't hurt us. God bless you, little goblin guide. I take back some of the bad things I've said about you over the years. Nah, Jund tier is about more than not being tier 1. In my mind, calling something Jund tier means that it's a deck that used to be tier 1 that people desperately hold on to despite not being good, and frequently there will be a base of it. There will be a base of people who refuse to acknowledge that their deck is actually bad. That's something that's very common in non-rotating format players. They've invested so much time and money into their decks, they refuse to admit to themselves and to others that, like, I like this deck and I'm going to continue playing it, but it's not very good. Players Day, thanks for the Blue Origin bucks. I appreciate the 31 months. Welcome back. I spent all my money on Jund, so it's not like I can switch to another deck. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And there's nothing wrong with enjoying Jund. Life's short. Play decks that make you happy. Do I just play Sanctum Prelate on 2? 2 covers Searing Blaze and Lightning Helix. I think I'm supposed to play this on 2. Hey, Rifle Mike. Thanks for the 3 months. Mardu Reanimator in Modern. I'd be surprised if that archetype is particularly competitive. We played a version of it that was very bad, and the build we played was extra bad, but it feels to me like the payoff you get in Reanimator is not proportional to having to dip in to use your graveyard as a resource, would be my TLDR. Yeah, being the fifth best graveyard deck, and obviously the number there is arbitrary, but like being the not best graveyard deck is usually not a good place to be. It's kind of sweet though. If you don't mind losing to sideboard cards, probably fine. Guardian of Faith. Is that the your stuff phases out card? That might be fine. The problem with the mutate decks is they're so dense on things that cost like 4+ mana or 3+ mana. Sarah's Emissary. That's the I don't know what that card does. Yes, I'd play burn for a $50 donation. I think burn is super reasonable. Choose a card type. You and creatures you control have protection from the chosen card type. What is that? What does that beat? You're saying that beats a bunch of stuff? Like I'm having a hard time envisioning what the like. I guess it beats fair decks, I suppose. You like name instant with it. Burn, baby, burn. Do, 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 do. Opponent's a rather charming individual. Oh, you have protection from the chosen card type. Okay, so you're just like counting on creature decks to have zero interaction? Is that true of this format right now? Do creature decks, generally speaking, not have any interaction? Like they're not playing Path to Exiles or anything like that? That might be true. They're definitely playing Graveyard Hate though. Like in a post endurance world. Yeah, that's true. There are Path to Exile as a whole is kind of at an all-time low. Yeah, and that card does have a 7th point of toughness. I don't know. I'd be more worried about your ability to consistently get something into play as opposed to like killing them with it once you have it in play, if that makes sense. Like I believe you that the card is good when you have it in play, but like you aren't always going to have it in play. So I have Imperial Recruiter. I'm short. I'm short mana to get and cast Knight of Autumn. I can fetch a 2 mana thing, but then that 2 mana thing makes me lose a life. We're just supposed to hope to not die next turn, huh? Let's cast this and just double check. Well, so the 7/7 they're talking about gives you protection from creatures, which stops your opponent from attacking you. Well, I should just Thalia. That's the play. I go to 1 and I go to 4 and Thalia them. We died at exactly second Boros Charm, but that's fine. Now they have to have untapped land and 2 1-mana spells or Boros Charm. Notable that if I would have played the Noble Hierarch last turn instead of the Esper Sentinel, I would have been in a much better spot having drawn this. So I think I missequenced. I should have prioritized getting Noble Hierarch into play last turn. So that way I could have played a Knight of Autumn or played this without taking a damage. Alright, 2 cards in hand. There's the 4th land. Am I dead? Yay! Alright, so that was the easy game. Now we have to try and win a game on the draw. Which sounds rather impossible. Kataki is alright. Actually, I almost cut some of these Katakis with the second one because one of the premier artifact decks in the format at the moment is the Hammer Time deck we were talking about. And I think that Kataki's kind of mediocre there because they don't have to. It's like, it's not awful, but it's like worse than a lot of other pieces. Like you care about specific artifacts in that matchup, and they don't need a critical mass of them like the old Affinity deck used to need. So like having something like Knight of Autumn that kills a specific artifact is often better than having this to just like lets them pick which ones they're keeping and taxes them a little bit. Bobbin TV, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. I'm getting beat up playing a little bit of humans. We've got some sweet ones for the arena segment today. We're going to revisit Naya Legends in Standard 22, and then we're going to do deck voting for Historic. I've got 3 different Arcanist decks I'm going to let people vote on. We've got Mardu, Naya, and Temur. Nice. Another land that doesn't hurt us is great. No Goblin Guide on 1, also good for us. Knight of Autumn in the opener, good for us. Sure, I know what the card text does point, which is why if you listen to what I actually said about the card, I said, are creature decks not playing Path to Exile right now? Is the exact quote of what I said. So I understand in the non-creature matchups you pick not creature, but the specific comment I was engaging with was this card beats the creature decks. To which my response was musing out loud, hey, are creature decks not playing the card that gives them counterplay to this anymore? Because Path to Exile used to be very common in creature decks. But the way the format has shifted, that's probably not the case anymore. What kind of mountain is that? This is one of the Secret Lair mountains, I believe. Searing Blaze. I assume they have Searing Blaze in their hand because they kept a hand without creatures in it. You know, honestly, Hamblin, I would not be surprised if long-term the more popular part of Legends of Runeterra was the single-player story mode, and they just became like a League of Legends version of Slay the Spire. The competitive card game space is so saturated, and it feels like that's a good way they could differentiate themselves. I think I want to put this to 2, but I'm going to put this Noble Hierarch into play before I tick it up, since I don't have a 2-drop. I think I'm going to pay 1 off of this to cast this Knight of Autumn. Puts me to 11. Yeah, it's not as in-depth as Slay the Spire as of yet, but like you get to like level things up and stuff. It's really well done. And like I said, genuinely would not be surprised if it's the more popular mode long term. So this Imperial Recruiter gets to fetch up this Phantasmal Image to gain us 4 again. I love me a toolbox, chat. And I haven't played a land for the turn, so I'm going to cycle this Horizon Canopy now. Yes, I agree, Violet Journey. I think they did not realize how popular it would be, and they're probably pivoting to support it more because they're smart. All right, we're at 9, and the burn deck has no cards in hand at the moment, which is great for us. How do you monetize a single player aspect? Well, you still have to get cards. Like you still play with cards that you own in it. The single player mode also is an onboarding point because getting people into your ecosystem is the hardest part of any of these games. So like people um get people entering your ecosystem and being familiar with the rules from the single player game mean they're more likely to play the multiplayer long term. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. We're 1 point short right now. I definitely want to put them to one though, right? Because it cuts them off of being able to play Shocklands and Painlands for mana. I have a few lethal ones off the top. That is not one of them, but that's fine. We're gonna put them to one. And we could die next turn, but it's unlikely. With them having one card in hand and no white mana. Please concede. Close game. Knight of Autumn and the Imperial Recruiter package getting to flex and go to work there, huh? We gained 8 thanks to our Knight of Autumn and the Imperial Recruiter for the Phantasmal image. Also, someone earlier had commented that Menguchi said you always play 4 Phantasmal images. I'd like to point out that I'm playing 5 Phantasmal images, which is a bigger number than 4, so let the record reflect I'm actually playing more than recommended. I think you can make the argument that this card is good and flexible enough that I want a second copy to tutor on occasion, but we do essentially have 5 copies at the moment. Recruiters felt very good a second time through. It's just not good enough to make this deck competitive against Omnath. And there's enough Omnath decks in the format that I don't think I would recommend playing this archetype. You just get shoved in a trash can by them. Thorn has mulligan to 6. Huh. Sentinel on 1. I don't know if it's right or wrong to lean on this or this, but I like the idea of this. Overtime?
Overtime.
It's a Minecraft video? Is that what you're looking for? Have fun.
Overtime. It's time over the top.
Hey, if you're done with the Switch, bring it back in here. So I can have it on the dock. What's our sequencing look like from here? I think it's definitely a 2 mana spell this turn. The question is, do I want a Meddling Mage or Thalia's Lieutenant? I think it's Meddling Mage, and then I champion plus Lieutenant next turn. It's really good as Zintoth. There's been a bunch of us chatting about it in the subs Discord.
Got the switch. Damn.
It's gonna name Lightning Bolt. Hey, Fordo. Thanks for the prime. Welcome to the channel this morning. I appreciate the support. So, we got to draw a card off of this, which is all you could really ask for in the control matchup. And I think getting 2 extra power is enough here. I'll see if they've got something like Damnation for next turn. No plays makes me concerned we could be getting swept. Well, that's not a black source. Yeah, I think this would be a sweet card for Historic. This is a really neat creature that gives small creature decks good advantage against things like Jeskai control. I think this is a card that would be excellent. And yeah, the Tempered Steel decks would love it. We could see Snap terminate this turn. Actually, you know what? Am I supposed to lead Sanctifier here because of the threat of Snap terminate? That might be the case. This'll encourage Snap terminate before we attack too. Otherwise we get to draw a card. Suppose they could have Cryptic Command here as well, like counter the Sentinel, tap my team. The Esper Sentinel flavor text is direct attack on me. The more Esper changes, the more he refuses to. Oh, boomers. Oh, boomers. And we're at a point now where if these connect, it doesn't really matter if they have a sweeper, because we'll be far enough ahead. And honestly, even if they kill Champion of the Perisher, if they take 6, we should be in a pretty decent spot with our leftovers. Wow, they do have Snapcaster Mage. They're just giving us a card with it. Deal. Good beats. So they're going to kill that. Are they chumping to gain 3 is the question. They are. Okay, so they're playing to the out of a sweeper then? That's what that means. There's Black Source. You got a Damnation for me? Esper Sentinel's flavor text is the slogan of the Jun tier. That's such a great way to put it. Oh no! What if they cast Jace the Mind Sculptor, chat? Oh no! Chat! They're sculpting our minds, chat! How will we ever be competitive against Jace the Mind Sculptor? He was banned for so many years, chat! I can't possibly best the Sculptor of Minds. Wait, did they just not bounce my thing? Okay, so this is 7. Alright, so they're just super dead, right? They did just pay 5 mana to Brainstorm. And you'll get another Thalia's Lieutenant here. And cast it uncounterable. Listen, chat. If there's one thing that's true across all formats of Magic, it's that when you feel like your deck is bad and you should no longer be playing it, you can count on Grixis to show up and put you on the scoreboard. So shout out to the Grixis players of the world. Letting us feel good about ourselves. Alright, so Reflector Mage out, Sanctum Prelate, extra Sanctifiers in. Probably not a Magus to the matchup. I think we leave like one Deputy and one Reflector Mage in. Honestly, I might want a Skyclave Apparition too. There might be a situation where Jace isn't embarrassing and we want an answer to it. Might be, maybe. I'm not gonna say it's definitely going to happen, but I won't rule it out either. They could also have things like Plague Engineer that we really care about. Chat, thank you for the 58 months and for the tier 3. One of the OGs. Welcome back. It's been a trip. Fanatic of Mark Rosewater. Thanks for the follow and the sub. Welcome to the channel this morning. Yeah, I think you're happy to submit like that. Oh. I didn't expect you to add the Skyclave. My comment was a joke. No, I think the Skyclave is right. They could have they could have like a random miscellaneous permanent base card that we like kind of care about. And so pretty with the 4 Imperial recruiters, it's fine to like hedge bringing one ofs in just in case you need to tag something. Champion into Guardian of Thraben. Sign me up. Cavern's probably pretty decent too. Yeah, Plague Engineer is a real card. Patrick Chapin once told me, Jace the Mind Sculptor is better than all. It must be better than all. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, Jason Modern is just... If there's ever a textbook where we write lessons about cards being power level contextual to the formats that they're in, Jace the Mind Sculptor would definitely be in the book, right? Is Meddling Mage naming Terminate? Maybe, remains to be seen. You know, sometimes I feel like this operating system I'm using is from 1995 build. What was it? So, I was having an issue where on occasion my system would choke a little bit and the RTX voice would go a little roboty. So I was doing some Googling about the issue, and apparently Windows defaults to setting the CPU priority. No, they're gonna alter here, yeah. The CPU priority on the RTX voice application to below normal. And if you set it to above normal, the post said that it should resolve that issue for the most part. But apparently Windows doesn't have an easy way to remember the processor priority it sets the application at. So I'm going to have to take some time and jump through some hoops and get it set up so it remembers it on reboot. Because why would we make remembering a setting for your PC convenient and easy? The second Dahlia here is a good draw because it forces them to snap Bolt before she comes into play. Because otherwise they don't have the mana to do that. It would have been nice to draw a third land tier, but beggars won't be choosers. Dahlia was one of our better non-land draws. I was going to say, alright, yeah, that's a better tap. Opponent's mana base doing Grixis things here. They've shocked and then fetched shocks. They've done 5 to themselves already this game, which is nice. You love to see it. Come on, do it. Rats. I was hoping for the 7th point. The Fatal Push from Miguel. 3 mana, all blue. 2 mana, all blue? Well, this is post-board, so I have to imagine their counterspells are out of their deck at this point. Explosive, sure. Wait, what? Alright, sure. Hey, you got explosives on 1. Well, I will not play a 1-mana spell. Got me. I feel like that was intentional, but also, like, if that was their best play for the turn, like, what does their hand look like? I mean, I don't even know if they intended to put it on 2, right? Yeah, I mean, like, it kills Aether Vial and stuff, I guess. I wonder if that was a misclick or not. Because, like, they tapped two colors, and then they explicitly untapped and retapped for all blue, so, like... This the Damnation? It might have been right to play this on 4 last turn, honestly. Okay. So, they shocked that in. Does anybody know what that means? I'm pretty sure it means Cryptic Command. Let's start on Sanctum Prelate. And they let this resolve, we're naming 4. It is only on Switch right now, Alex. Yeah, it's coming to mobile this fall. So, non-creature spells with mana value 4 cannot be cast. Down to 3 they go. Well, Thalia's in play, right? So if they Archmage's Charm, they'd only have 1 left over. Man, I'm really glad they did a bunch of damage to themselves, so my Mantis Rider is lethal. Because if my Mantis Rider wasn't lethal, I'd be in trouble against a Grave Titan. Alright, so we went 3 and 2, and I don't know, my knee-jerk, you shouldn't play this, was probably a little knee-jerky, but also, if you're expecting to play against a lot of the Omnath decks, I would say you shouldn't play this. I can't envision any way you could change or modify this deck and not just get shoved in a trash can by the Omnath control decks. Like, the fact that they have a threat that draws them a card, that makes them a pile of mana that can gain them 7 life in a turn cycle, just seems like unbeatable. So, we felt okay against most other things. Honestly, the weak link in all of the games that we played, Meddling Mage seems kinda mediocre. I feel like I want more Phantasmal images. I think at a minimum, if I were to do this again, I would turn the 4th mage into another image, but I could even see a world where, like, you just go 4-1 in the other direction, and this is a card you tutor for with Recruiter on occasion. The dropping of Kite Sail Freebooter so you don't see your opponent's hand has made the power level of this card go down, I feel, pretty significantly. So, all right. At any rate, let's shift gears to some Magic Arena. So, I'm actually not window capturing Moto here in the middle because it's actually kind of tedious to window capture Moto. But I am window capturing this preview. So my card previewer in the corner is the card preview window captured. So I am screen capturing in the center because Moto's a multi-window application, but my card preview uses the window capture. It really made me laugh that, like, there were a bunch of people like LSV and Newmont who, like, responded to Kibler like, you can't do that. And it's like, this is your job, right? Well, I guess it's not LSV's job, but, like, Newmont, like, streams mostly Moto. It's funny. They didn't realize how their software works with it.